Hello, everyone, and welcome to this conversation presented by White House Custom Color.
Are you trying to mute me?
No, it's just real loud, and I can't.
I sold Amazon, but it was $25.
Listening to listen, not listening to respond.
Yes! Oh, thank you for that. Let's talk about kids for a second. Before we had children, my wife and I were always told that, oh, your whole life's going to be different when you have kids. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't travel, you can't go here, all the stuff that we were doing at the time. And we shrugged it off. And I just thought, oh, what do they know? They're just parents with kids. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. Your life is not the same after children, but it's so much more than the stuff you can't do. I think what sticks with me the most as a dad the last 10 years or so is how much my life has changed because of all the things that are different because of kids. The perspective that I have, the way that my mind works, the things that I think of and how I think of them. I got to interview Zabrina Deng, and she's got 2 little kids, and they live in a small apartment in California, like I think she says 350 square feet. Or something like that. Now Zabrina is a Sony artisan, extremely successful wedding photographer. Her images are mind-blowing. But I was really struck by who she is as a mom, just as much as who she is as a photographer. We called this episode Persevering because she makes a point to say that what she wants from all of this that's been happening in the last year or so, she wants her daughter to see that mommy persevered, that mommy stayed with it, that mommy didn't give up. And that struck me. It made me think of my own kids because there's so much that they see that we don't think about. There's so much that they hear from us that we don't think about as it's happening. But Zabrina reminded me of that. And I really enjoyed our conversation and hope that you do too.
Are we already recording right now?
I record from the very beginning.
I guess might as well just spill out the beans, right? So
spill those beans. Who are you and where are you at and what do you do?
Oh my gosh, I live in a 350 square feet apartment in Berkeley for the 4 of us.
For the 4 of you.
So I have a 3-year-old and a 9-month-old infant right now.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit like cramped in space right now, but hey, gotta do what we have to do to just
That's right.
make it through during this, strange
right.
time of ours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, so by the way, such an honor to be part of your podcast. Oh my gosh, yeah. So it's you and Vicky, you guys been, such an instrumental, figure in the industry. And I've seen you guys' name on the WPPI speaker list, like ever since the very first time back in like the late 2000s attending WPPI. Yeah. So it's just, such an honor to be a podcast.
I appreciate that very much. I've been excited to meet you and to speak to you. I've seen your name for a very long time, and I think we know a lot of the same people.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
but we've never spoken before that I know of.
Yeah. So during WPPI, I'm like, because English is my second language, so I'm still very shy in terms of like how this whole socializing thing work in a conference and parties and stuff. So at the end of the day, I get so exhausted, like talking to vendors and then meeting people, and then so I kind of have to like hide myself in the hotel room and take a long bath and just to recoup. So that's why I feel like now that during this quarantine, I'm like, gosh, it's so stupid of me not to, utilize my time during WPPI just to, meet more people in the party, because that is like networks for the lifetime, right?
I understand the exhaustion though. I do the same thing, and I only speak one language, and I get exhausted very, very quickly. There are many times where I miss out on the parties because I am crashed in my room, especially as I get older.
When I first attended WPP, I have all this energy. Now I feel like so different. Yeah.
Well, you're a mom 2 times over.
You guys have kids?
I was going to ask you about that because I was looking through your website, and I was reading your blog, and I think it was last August you posted that, oh, I have baby number 2 coming,
Right.
and I've got some really big things happening next May. Well, of course, lots of things have happened since then, but one of the things that happened is that you had your second baby.
Yeah.
What has it been like for you? All right, so not the virus, not the pandemic.
Right.
But
yeah.
what has it been like for you to continue on as a leader and an influencer in our industry, as you become a mom again, like you became a mom a few years ago, you're a mom again now, and 2 kids is more than 1. So there's more time that needs to be given to
Yes.
family, right? How do you work that out?
I don't have an answer for you. I mean, like, I don't want to pretend I know it all. It's just every day I'm struggling. Every day I'm still thinking, should I go look for a full-time job? I'm not.
Do
gonna
you
lie.
really? Do you
Yes,
really think
every
that?
time I struggle, but at the end of the day, and then there's always something reminding me that maybe I need to persevere. And I think maybe that something is that, it's now that okay, so let me try back. So back then before I have any kids, so I do photography pretty much for myself. Yeah. And it's just for the sake of promoting my own name and promoting like how good I can be an artist, how good I can be a photographer.
Right.
So ever since, having kids involved, then it changed quite a bit of the perspective. And it's no longer about myself anymore. It's becoming, when I do this set of picture for this client, and like at the end, it's not about like how good I get praise from the client.
Yeah.
It's about like how my kids to perceive mommy as a role model. That kind of thinking. It's change thinking, right? So it's about like, how mommy should, how she be. It's like what she's gonna do in difficult situation, like how she persevere through hard time and difficulties and challenges, how she pivot business, somehow make it work and still trying to survive this thing. And something that she's like, mommy is passionate, and then like she couldn't stop talking about it, and how could she wouldn't give up so easily. That kind of thinking, that kind of feels me at the end of the day, and not to give up too easily. Yeah.
Is that's what keeps you going more than your own praise and your clients being happy with you and your work and your creativity and your artistry, which is all there. But I hear you saying that you're more motivated, or maybe most motivated by how your kids are going to perceive you moving forward. So in 10 or 15 or 20 years or whatever, how do you want your kids to perceive you, even looking back on these times? What do you want them to think?
I want them to like for themselves, I think for themselves that they're not going to give up easily. If they encounter something hard time in life, they still try very, very hard to grind and make it through. So it's I don't know. I just feel like nowadays there's like so many resources, and there's so many it just like the way how kids are nowadays is like they have all the resources and revenue, like things that can help them, and in a way they get things so easy, and then I feel like they can give up easily on just difficult tasks. So
are they not pushed hard enough, or do they not?
In a way,
they don't have the same struggles that we do or that we did, but they have different struggles.
Yeah, I guess it would be a different struggle for them. Yeah. But like, I just want them to just remember, mommy did this, and then, maybe you can somehow take this inspiration and try to resolve things on your own too, without, sometimes you feel so alone on your own, but those memories of, how your parents like going through difficult times.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be something that, as kids, they that feel as their own inspiration or motive, whatnot.
What are some specific things, like what comes to your mind when I ask you about specific things that you have encountered that you have had to overcome?
In 2018, that's before I have the second kid. But my first kid was Faith. She was 1.5 years old, and then I have this job. I was struggling if I should book it or not, but it was one of my biggest contract in the entire year, because I already took like a 9 months maternity leave, and then I felt like I kind of already kind of like halt the photography career for a good time, for a good chunk of time.
Right.
If I don't take this assignment, I feel like I have no good images to share for that year. So so I was really, really struggling, but I was like still kind of breastfeeding my 1.5-year-old, and I was so struggle whether I should take the job or not. But so after many days of thank goodness the client gave me some time to think about it. She said she really, really want to book me, but it was a difficult journey because it involved 12 days of traveling, being away, and my husband has a full-time job, so it's very hard for him to take 12 days off, to take care of the kids. So how we had to overcome that was a crazy journey too. So I brought the kids all the way back to China to have grandma as a nanny to watch her for the 12 days. And then I flew from China to Europe and shot from Europe, I went to Morocco. So I shot 12 days from Spain and 3 cities in Morocco. And then after the trip was over, I flew back from Morocco through Hong Kong into China, and then pick up my 1.5-year-old, and then we flew back from China to the States.
My word!
So that was very difficult because I to arrange such thing in order for work to happen, it was just crazy, right? But and then also and I was still before I went on shooting 12 days, I was still breastfeeding. So so I kind of during that trip, and then I guess I lost my milk supply. So it was just very struggling, because I'm part of me being mommy is oh my gosh, I lost milk supply, and then I felt a little bit emotional.
You felt bad,
I definitely felt really bad, and then part of me also thinking that, hey, this is what I'm very, very passionate to do. I'm a mommy first. It's my first identity. That's always going to be glue with me. But on the other hand, I want to set as an example for my kids that, mommy did something totally crazy and kind of conquer the impossible, and, take Faith all the way to China and have a nanny too. Because my grandma wasn't able to come to the state because she had visa issue back then. So that's why I have to do this kind of crazy route. And then
I know about visa issues.
So just that was pretty difficult, I think.
You're very you come across as very capable, and you kept saying persistent earlier, right? You're a persistent, capable, courageous, willing to do whatever it takes to make things happen type of person. There's a lot of strength there. Where does that come from? Why do you think you're like that?
It's definitely not. I really think it's not from me. It's not really from myself. It's from a lot of things. It's from definitely the supports that I have surrounding me. My friends from church, and then and my family. Grandma so willing to take the kids for for 12 days, and then it's this whole entourage of people supporting me. I think that's where my strength came from. Yeah. And it's just when I'm like, so like when I'm shooting, like there's this like, I don't know, like not my own self sort of feeling to it. I don't know if I explain it properly, but I don't feel like myself when I'm shooting. Yeah, I felt like I'm like in a state of a higher being, kind of. It's just crazy. Yeah, so it's really, really crazy. Yeah, I cannot explain, but I know this is the one thing I do. It's so fitting. It's like fits like a glove. It matches myself very well. I mean, this is the only thing that fits my personality, and like I'm called to do. So
your calling.
Yeah, I guess, I feel like that's what I felt like when I'm out there shooting. And
how did you discover that? Like, how did that happen to begin with?
I guess I discovered that when people told me that like I would ignore everything else. Just like during this like work is the only thing that I do has like hyper concentration. I get distracted easily. I really am. Like I'm like, I barely graduated from college. I graduated with a C-, and then before college, like all my grades are like awful because I get distracted from everything else. Yeah, but during during photography shooting and doing a session for a client or whatever, any shoot, it's like the only thing that puts me in like a hyper concentration state. So I guess that's how I find out, because the people around me that is like, when you're out there shooting, you wouldn't pick up your phone call, you like people calling your name, you wouldn't listen, you're just in doing your own thing, and you glue to it, nobody else can get you away from doing
so
that.
When you're shooting, you're focused, you're in the zone, you're not distracted by other things because you're so into what you're doing when you're photographing. So I guess that's when other people tells me that, oh, this is you must be in your own zone, you're in your own cave, while you're shooting. So I guess that's how I find out. But I felt like not myself, because my normal self is like I distracted easily, I cannot follow through. But what that's when I'm shooting, that's the one thing that from start to finish I'm totally like hyper focused and glue on. What has the last 2 or 3 months been like for you?
Oh, it's very hard. It's definitely very difficult because, keep getting email from clients, like, can't either cancel or reschedule for next year. And it's just, a very, very difficult time, I guess. And I love my kids. They're like, like I would die for them. But being at home with them 24/7, it's also a different story.
And in a small apartment,
especially
too,
in a small apartment. During shelter in place order, and we have to be confined in such a space. And we were actually in China during like in the during China's peak of the pandemic too.
Oh, really?
So when we were in China, so we went back for Chinese New Year in the middle of January, and we were planning to stay for 3 weeks, but we only stayed 2 weeks because we felt like we want to come back before the U.S. closed its border. And when we were there, as soon as we landed, we saw the news, and the number was like, keep going higher and higher. But of course, no, as Chinese American, knowing the number they officially declare may not be like the actual number. It's probably a lot higher. So we actually, when we were in China, we confined ourselves too. So we stayed in for the entire 2 weeks while we were there.
Oh, you were inside the whole time
there,
too.
We were inside the whole time, So if we go downstairs, like to take out the trash or something, we would already wearing masks or, get all grocery, everything, like food deliver. And then the only time we gone out was just to go to the airport and come back to the States.
Come home.
And come home. So it was so strange. And after we came home, and we do self quarantine just to be, because we came from a place where, I mean, a country, who knows, like probably a lot of like, I don't know if people infected, or I could be like infected, but
we didn't know what was going on at the time.
At the time, because
no idea.
no idea. I guess the U.S. was still being kind of loose, so we passed through the border, and there's like no health declaration form, which I found was kind of strange. I thought they would ask, "Oh, did you come from like Wuhan, the city where the pandemic?" Yeah, but no. Yeah, so we were so surprised. There's no temperature check at all, but because I guess it was in China during this peak of the pandemic, they have to do temperature check for everybody everywhere you went. Even like you try to get out of your apartment, there's a guy using the gun pointing the temperature gun on your forehead and make sure you don't have like fever over 100 or not. But anyway, so I guess during that time it was still low in number in the States, and it's just things were quite loose. And then but we felt like we need to do a global citizen had to do, so we self-quarantine for 2 weeks. Sorry, that was grandpa. Self-quarantine for 2 weeks, staying in, and and then the numbers started to become like peaking in the US, and then shelter in place happened. So we felt like ever since January we haven't
for you it's been even longer.
It's like almost 6 months long pandemic. So
what do you think the rest of this year, like what sort of plans do you have for the rest of this year moving forward?
Moving forward for the rest of the year. So I'm going to solicit like all my past client or the client that has booked me in terms of business or just anything. Sorry.
Both. Yeah, both.
Okay, yeah. So people who have booked me or booked me before or wanting to book me, all those leads, I'm just going to tell them that, if your event's being postponed or canceled, at least what I can do is to still do your, engagement session or do Asian client, I do a lot of pre-wedding session for them. So like shoot these pre-wedding session locally in the States, because I guess my business, it's like somewhat mostly like destination pre-wedding session. So we should oversee in Europe or in Asia, but I guess the focus is like marketing to the local clients now. And it will be hard. It will be very difficult.
You're going to essentially just do what it is that you can do.
Yes.
And try to make things happen within the boundaries that you have right now.
Right. So I have to like really retrain my own eye to appreciate things that, how nice things are surrounding myself. And I'm also like, I'm so used to like getting inspiration from the destination that I travel to, like I guess it's like new and, or places that you don't go very often and really get inspired. But now I have to like kind of brainwash myself and to watch every single movie about San Francisco, from the old time to the recent time, or all chick flicks or like, whatever, any show.
There's so many of them. I think the first one that comes to my mind for some reason is The Rock.
Oh, The Rock. Yes. The Rock. Yeah, based in Alcatraz, right? Yeah.
Yes.
The Rock is my very first action movie that I saw after moving to the States when I was.
Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, I remember vividly. Yeah, and
oh, that's the first San Francisco movie. Yeah, Full House for sure.
Full House, because it's on TV all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, it is interesting. Like you have to like focus on your surroundings, because normally you're used to just going all over the place, and shooting all over the world, and now you're going to be shooting. Well, you're lucky that you're in such an amazing city.
Thank you.
There's a lot of beauty around there. I've been there a couple times, and you have a lot of really nice locations there.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just because after I moved to the States since 1994, the year of 94, because I'm surrounded by, I guess, all these beautiful monuments, but I don't take them. I mean, I've been just taking them for granted because I see them all the time.
You see them all the time, right?
Yeah. So I have to retrain my eye to really appreciate the beauty surrounding myself. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So it's so the rest of the year it's just gonna be so strange, right? Like I guess even like for a wedding photographer, how do we pivot our business? It's not an easy question. I mean, like I'm sure a lot of photographers already have it figured out, but I'm just figuring out as we go, as how because we're still like the Bay Area, we're still like restaurants don't open until mid-July or something, and then we're still trying to be a good citizen of the world and not to get out very much unless we have to.
Unless you have to go, yeah.
Yes, unless we have to go. So it's gonna be different. And for the time being, like how I just to survive with the business is just to pivot. I guess offering more classes online, and so I can maybe I can serve as an inspiration for. Upcoming or like people who are into photography or people just want to take better picture of the family or of their wife, or I can maybe do a more like coaching through like this online media.
I think that you are you're in that position. You have an audience. You have a lot of people that know who you are. You're associated with different conventions and vendors in the industry, and you're kind of out there. So a lot of people get to see you, or a lot of people know of you. What is something here in closing? What sort of message do you have for those people? Maybe some people that are struggling, and maybe some people that, especially considering what has happened, maybe they're thinking, I just don't know if I can do this anymore, or maybe they're struggling with the persistence and the things that you struggle with. What do you have to say to them?
Sorry, it's a hard question.
A big question.
It's a big question.
You take as long as you need.
Yeah. Persistence. Yeah. I mean, like, because there's a lot of downtime during this sheltering in place time, and then I think of the shoot that I did really, really well, and the picture came out nice, and it speaks to like who I am as a photographer. Those pictures like really represent like my taste, my view of the world, and my concept of what romance is. Yeah. So when I look at those pictures, and I've done that, and I want to do it again. I don't want to done that and then drop low and that's it.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
And I wanted to be able to do that even better.
I hear you saying that you look to yourself for inspiration sometimes. You look back to what you have done.
I guess I have to
remind be inspired
myself,
moving forward.
Yeah, I guess I have to remind myself what my initial spark was.
Yes.
Yeah, like where my original passion, I guess original why I was so inspired to take those photographs, back then. Yeah, and why
I love that.
Yeah, and then like why did I start photography? I didn't give up my programming job for nothing, for God's sake. I mean, now it's like yeah, I was in tech, right? And then if I kept the tech job, I don't have to live in 350 square feet. I could live in a mansion now. Yeah. So I guess I just have to keep reminding myself I didn't give up all those things for nothing. I almost like my dad almost disowned me for becoming a photographer.
Oh.
Right? Yeah. And then I went through a lot in life, and I guess and also like overcoming cancer, and I survived from that. Yeah. So there's nothing to keep me in the bottom. Eventually I will have to go back up, but it's just a matter of figuring that out along the way. There's no proper answer to your question. Sorry to say it, Jed.
I think you gave a wonderful answer to my question.
Yeah, but it's just, I have to keep reminding myself why I started photography and what makes me keep going. I guess I just remind myself, that initial passion, and I gave up all these things, right? And now what? Yeah, it's a hard time. Yeah, but
where can people go to find you online?
They can find me on my website. It's www.jezaphoto.com. It's just.photo.com. Sorry, I get a little bit emotional, so I get tongue tied. And
It's okay.
and Instagram is Zabrina ZABRINAXYZ. So you can look for my work there.
I hope everybody goes to check out your stuff. It's beautiful. I think that what you have said today is wonderful. I feel really good about what you said, and it makes me happy.
Jed. Thank you, Jed. I hope it wasn't a lot for you to edit.
No. This was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for your time too. Seriously, I mean, you and Vicky, you guys been doing this like tremendously great job for empowering like photographers and giving us more, inspiration. And just by doing this, and you reminded me, just to keep looking back my initial passion. And there's no way I should give up easily, because I have you as my support, and the whole photography community. It's been wonderful because we're keeping each other accountable.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you made my day, Zabrina.
No, thank you, Jed. Yeah, we do. Thank you.
Have a good day, and I will see you next time, hopefully at a convention not too long from now.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll see, right? Yeah,
we will. Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a good one too. Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this conversation presented by White House Custom Color on YouTube. Be sure to check out our other content and click that subscribe button right there. Right there. It's there somewhere.